right then. So welcome, folks. This is Jay here. I'm your tutor. So this is session number 6. As I have mentioned before, all these sessions they are following along from the session from the previous session, coming up till the current session. So hopefully, you have come here. If you're following along, then you already attended the previous sessions, or at least you watched the previous sessions before coming here. And so, but if you're just coming in new, then please go ahead, understand whatever you can, and then go back and watch the recordings and the supported material before coming to this session. So my name is Jay. I'm going to be your tutor, and today I will go ahead and explain to you two big concepts. I'm going to show you a little bit about methods, also called as functions, and I'll also be using what is called as operators to show you how these functions work. And at the end of this session, what I've done is, in the last class, I was able to show you something, like when we started programming, I was showing you a demonstration about how to program with JavaScript with an extension called Coca. So I realized, okay, for you guys, I need something a little bit more visual. So what I'll do is at the end of the session, once I finish off all the uh, example demonstrations and explanations, I will be able to go ahead, and this is what I'll go ahead and give an explanation. So at the end of the session, I will show you the code. I won't be able to build it. It takes a really long time to build this project, but I will show you this project. It's a very simple calculator which gives you an idea on how to go ahead and combine the concept of functions as well as operators. Like, for example, 9 minus 3 is equal to 6. So this is what we are going to do today. Now, again, remember, this is programming. It can get a little complex. Okay, so I'll start off by explaining some of the practical, the theory part of it, and then we'll jump into the code. I can't code it live in front of you. I don't think we have that much time, but I'll explain how the code works. And then, of course, after 45 minutes, I'll take whatever questions you might have for me, and then we'll try to, answer them and so on. And I have gone ahead and prepared a lot of material for you, especially for this session. So let me start by sharing that with you. So let me just get my chat button here. So let me do that. And here I am going to send you a document. This was actually a request from some of the students in the previous session. So I realized, you guys really need this. So I've sent it in the chat box. Just go ahead and see if you got it. Make a copy of it, because on Zoom, what happens is once the session is over, you won't be able to access the file. So go ahead and download the document right away. It's actually kind of an important document. So please make sure you have the document. That's what I'm talking about. And let me quickly open that here, because this is the first time I'm sharing, such a big document in this session. So the first thing is you have a lot of important links here. Please go through them. And you also have links to the YouTube channel and things like that. So try that as well. But the important stuff is, as I mentioned, this is session number 6. So I have gone ahead and put short snippets of explanations with the links of each session, including the stuff we are doing today. This was actually a request from the students from the previous session. So based on that feedback, I've gone ahead and put together a small notes material. So as the sessions keep going, I promise to keep this document updated, and this document has been shared with you, and I believe it will become available in your student dashboard also. So a lot of stuff coming in here, my dear students. Hopefully all of this will help you. But remember, as I tell you in every session, you got to sit and practice though. Like ultimately, it all comes down to how much you practice. So this session, yes, you can ask questions and stuff like that, but the best way to do programming is to sit and practice it. There's no way anyone can do this in 45 minutes or 1 hour. So I hope you'll take that advice to your heart, okay, and then practice and so on and so forth. And at the end of the session, I'll show you the community forum that I have. for students, so you can ask questions to me and I'll reply to them. After the session as well, I have a discussion forum, where open forum, public forum, where you have any questions. That is the best place to ask questions. Not just at the end of the session where we only have like 15 minutes and stuff like that. So there you go. I've shared you the document. Now let's come back to my PowerPoint. Right then. So we want to talk about functions. Okay, we also use the word methods. Now again, you have the simple definition in front of you. I'm just going to read it out, and then before I jump into some explanations. Now in JavaScript, functions are blocks of code designed to perform specific tasks. Okay. Now a function can take inputs, we call them parameters, you can call them arguments. And obviously a function can also return an output. Okay. So it takes parameters and it goes there and gives you returning a return value. We'll see that in a few, in a minute or so. Further, the important thing about functions is that it is what is called as reusable. Okay, so if something is happening again and again, it is important for us to put that in a function so that we don't have to write the same code again and again. For example, in that example demo project that I'll dig deeper at the end of the class. Like right now, let me just start over here. So I'm clearing the output. I hope you can, let me see if I can zoom. Oh, there you go. I can zoom in. Okay, there you go. And if I have to do something like 9 minus 3, and that's going to give me 6. So that means, now let's say I want to do another subtraction. So I can go again, I can say 8 minus 2 is equal to 6. Now, if I look at the code, you'll see here that I have, let me zoom in this as well, because in the previous session, there was a request to increase the size of the text. So let me zoom in. There you go. Hopefully that is big enough, right? Okay, all right. I think that is big enough. Let me make it a little bit more bigger. Here we go. So you'll see here that I have a single function called calculate the result. Okay, now this is exactly what we just talked about here, that functions is ultimately about creating code that is reusable, which means every time I go to my calculator and I do something like 7 into 7, I get 49. I know that works. Now that means here the calculate function is being called. Now, because it is a function, when I have to do another multiplication, I simply have to go and say 8 into 8 is equal to 64. So that means it doesn't matter whether I multiply, whether I use the multiplication function one time or 10 times or 100 times, it shouldn't make a difference. In all the cases, because I'm using functions, the whole thing becomes reusable. Okay, I hope that kind of makes sense to you. So whenever you have something that is going to be repeated many times, like for example, here I am doing the calculation. A calculation can be, you can see here, you have the plus operator. I'll talk about operators in a minute. You have the addition going on here, subtraction going on here, multiplication going on here, division going on here. So these are things that we are going to be doing again and again. So whenever you have something like that, you are going to use the feature of functions, which is you are going to put your code into these reusable modules. Again, modules, code blocks, functions. It becomes easy for you to go ahead and write software. So that is really what we are trying to do here. So let's look at an example function. Okay, now you already saw the function here, like you can see here, but I also gone ahead and put a simple function structure for you in the PowerPoint. This is again something, there was a bit of a feedback in the last few sessions. It would be good if I put these things in the PowerPoint. So I've gone ahead and done that as well. So there you go, guys. So what do you see here? So in the beginning, you have the keyword. You'll see in JavaScript. I hope you guys are practicing. This is the sixth session, so we already done some amount of JavaScript in the previous session. I hope you started using VS Code. I hope you started using the Coca extension. Those links are given to you in the one sheet document I gave you. So hopefully you'll check it out. Right. So what we have is, these blue color things, you'll notice that those are keywords. Those are important words reserved by the JavaScript programming language. So you have the keyword function that is very useful to create your function, and then you give it a function name, like how in variables we talked about in the previous session. You have variables, you create them, you give them a name, right? Similarly, here also you have a function, you give it a function name, very important. And then, of course, you have this tiny bracket, curly braces, not curly, sorry. I think I just call them brackets. I call them tiny bracket. That's easy for me to remember and understand. Small bracket, that's what we call it in India, right? And then we put the parameters here, and then you have the curly braces, and inside you put whatever code you're trying to execute. And finally, you return what is called as a return value. Again, you'll see the blue color. Return means that's the value you are going to go ahead and return whenever the function is called. So let's keep going here. So a few more examples for you. So I have a function here called add. So that's the name of the function. And then I have two parameters. You can see here, A and then B, so 1 and 2. And finally, what I'm doing here is I'm going ahead and adding these two parameters, A plus B, that is two variables. And then I'm going ahead and returning it. So now look at the bottom part. Now there, I'm doing something different. I am going ahead and calling the function. Okay, so the function add from the top is being called in the bottom part. And now notice how I am putting the function that is being called on the right side. Okay, now here there are two words. Let me get my paint software here. I think I need to explain, because this is the part where it can get a little confusing, right? So when you talk about functions, there are two things. There is the function definition, okay, and then you have the function calling. Two things when we talk about functions: you have definition and then you have calling. So coming back to my PowerPoint slide, the top part here, I believe I can get the marker here also. So this part is the function definition, and this part here is the function calling. Okay, I'm gonna really slow down and repeat this a couple of times, okay? Because this is something, I don't want to rush through, okay? I know I only have 45 minutes here, but I want to make sure this goes into your head properly. So once again, remember, a function will have two main ideas, a concept. The first concept is there is the function definition, okay? And then, hold on, the letter is blocking it. One second. Okay. Oh, here you go. So there is the function definition where you write the actual things the function will do, like what is its purpose, return values, taking parameters, all that. And then when you want to consume that function, when you want to use that function, you go ahead and do the function calling. Okay, I hope that is going, that kind of getting into you. I'm slowing down on purpose here because that's the part which really can sometimes confuse folks. So once again, back in the example, now remember, this is the function definition. The function definition will have the function keyword, blue color, and then you have the function name, parameters, and everything between these curly braces. This is called the body of the function. Okay, so that is where you write whatever the function is supposed to do. Now going back to our calculator example, the more practical example. So this is the function name, no parameters. We're not using any parameters here. And then this is where the body starts, the function body, and this goes on till here. And everything you see in between these curly braces, this is the function definition. Okay, we'll go into a little bit into the code before the end of the session. I will do that, but right now focus on the structure, focus on the syntax, because once you understand the syntax and the theory of it, you will understand what is going on when you start practicing. It'll kind of go into your head very easily. At least I hope it will. Otherwise, just watch the video again and again until you get an understanding, right? So let's keep going here. So there you have the definition in the top, and the calling in the bottom. Now, the calling thing is a little bit tricky. So let's go in a little bit here. So you always put the function that you're calling on the right side. A lot of students have problem with this, like they can't seem to understand why it is on the right side. It's on the right side because you're calling this, and then you are getting a return value, which is getting stored here. I don't know, after more than, I don't know, 12 years of professional teaching, some 20 years of, like informal teaching. I've been teaching my friends, classmates since I was like 15 or something. So in all these years, I never understand why some students get confused that function calling is on the right side and the result is on the left side. It's to me, it seems commonsensical. To me, it seems to be the natural way of doing things. So you call the function on the right side and you simply catch the value, the return value, the result on the left side. I have no other way to explain this. It is just a syntax. I hope you'll understand it. That's how it is. So I hope you'll understand. Okay, there's no other way to put it. So there you go. Function calling. You put the calling function on the right side and you catch the result on the left side. It can't be more simple. That's all I can say. Same thing here in our calculator project. This is my function here. And if I go to the top, somewhere here, I'm calling the function. So how do I find out? Let's go ahead and take the title. That's what I want. I'll go to the search box and there you go, calculate result. And there it is. See, line number 31. I'm calling the function on the right side here, and I am catching the return value here. Now, where is the return value coming from? Let's scroll down a little bit here. Hold on. There we go. Here again, you can see here. Actually, we don't actually, hold on. Yeah, there it is here. 75, 76, 77, 78. We are returning the output. Okay, so again, so the calling function, when the call happens, whatever math operations you do it, and then you return the result. Okay, I know this can get confusing, guys, especially if you're new to programming, which you are, but you practice enough, you'll get the hang of it. So let's keep going here. Let's keep going. So that's about the function. Now, as I mentioned, functions is all about reusability. We already talked about it, so I think I just put an extra slide there. So there are some other reasons why, what are the benefits? This is something a little bit more deeper, but this is something you need to know as a developer. I'm going to quickly go through it one item at a time. First step is modularity. Now, what is modularity? Like modularity means, the best example I can think of is, my pen. Okay, so I have this pen. I don't know if you can see it in the video. It's a Parker pen. I don't know if you see it. It's like a executive pen or something. So it's kind of expensive. So what happens is, whenever I'm done with this pen, like when the ink is over or something, I can open this. I'm doing that right now. I hope you can see it in the video. I can open it, and there's a very nice looking refill there. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so when the ink is done with this, I can go to the shop. This is a very popular brand in India. So I can go to any shop, and not all the shops, not everybody sells these things, but the big shops. I can go to the big stationery shops. I can tell them, hey guys, you know what? I have the Parker pen. Can you get me the refill for this? And they will give it. And then what happens? I can still, again, the pen is kind of expensive, so I can't keep buying a new pen every time the ink is over. So I can simply buy a new refill, put it in the pen nicely, right? And then I can keep using the pen when the ink goes out. Now, what is that? That is called modularity, because the refill is modular, just like a function in programming. I can change the refill so that way all that money I spent on this expensive pen is not lost. That is called modularity. Now, so when you're writing software, guys, please understand this is very important. If you don't use modularity, your software will become very hard to maintain, which is the next point. Okay, so when you build your code in different modules, it is easy for you to change them, improve them, fix bugs and all kind of scenarios. Okay, so as you grow as a developer, it is very important you learn everything in small separate modules so it becomes easy to maintain. Okay, now another reason to do functions, again, reusability, the benefits of that is third point, reducing redundancy. What is redundancy? Let's go back to our example project here, the one which we've been looking at. Now here, you look at this, I have the calculator, right? So I have, let me clear it out. Okay, I have 6, and then I'm going to say 6 minus 2 is, hold on, sorry. 6 minus 2 is equal to 4. Okay, so I'm doing subtraction. Now, imagine what happens here if now subtraction in the entire code is in line number 76. So it doesn't matter anywhere in the project, wherever I am doing subtraction, I make sure the minus operation happens in line number 76 and nowhere else. Now, why is that? Because I don't want to have unnecessary redundancy. Okay, so I want to make sure if there is an operation that has to be repeated, I make sure it only happens in one place in the entire project. So that way, whenever I have to make any changes or something stops working, uh, you are making sure there's only one place all of this is happening. Yes, yes. Somebody's asking me a question. Share the code, guys. That's what I told you. The document I shared with you. I don't know if you opened it. Let me just open it again. Look at this. In the bottom, do you see that? Are you able to see this, guys? Let me just zoom in. The document I sent you, I've already shared the code with you. I have a question from Augusto. Augusto, I don't know if you're watching, my friend. You'll see here in the document I sent, I've already shared the code. So just go to the page today's session, functions and methods. I made sure the document is already online. Just click on this link. I'll do it right now. Okay, hold on, not here. Wait a second. Why is that showing it's not available? It is here, hold on. So the code is already on my profile. There you go, front end for students. And here it is, calculator project. There it is. I'm gonna put it here in the chat box as well, just in case you're not able to get it. Okay, guys, I put the code in the link as well. Make sure you're able to open it. I'm able to open it. So, you can see it on the screen right now, the same code that I'm showing you. There you go, it's there in the chat again. Make a copy of it. That code is already online on my GitHub repository. And you know what, since that question has come up, I want to show you guys again, if this repository, it's there in that document I shared with you. Please remember, already I told you, you have to make sure you have a GitHub account. Please remember to start this repository. Please remember to, because there are a lot of projects here, guys. I put in a lot of, like in this one, look at this. I have so many other projects, not this calculator. I have a lot of other projects for the next session. I've already put it here. So if you want, you can already check it out before I teach you. Okay. I hope that answers Augusto's question. So coming back, so when we talk about functions, so remove, guys, you know what? Let me just drink some water. Okay, so that's about redundancy. Redundancy means you please make sure you don't write the same code in different places. And this is something I'll tell you. When you're working on a project, right now it's just a simple project, right? The calculator is like what? Look at this. It's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. But a big project, a real project, will have many more files and a lot more complex things going on. Okay, like I'll show you one of my projects. I think I told you guys I also do a lot of .NET training, and I'll give you an example. It's there on my profile again. Just go to my account on GitHub. Let me just share this link to you on the chat. I hope you're copying all the links, my dear students, because after the Zoom chat is over, I don't know if you can still get the link. So if we go here and I go to this one, and I have this one here, and yeah, there you go. Look at this. Look at all these files, guys. So a real project will have so many files, so many things going on. Look at this. Everything has a separate folder, so many code to do and things like that. So things can get very complex very, very fast when you start working on a project. That's why we tell you, put everything in modules, put everything in functions, and so on and so forth. Next, the another reason to do functions is obviously you want to make sure it's easy to collaborate. Now, you'll remember in the earlier sessions, I spent a lot of time talking about GitHub, talking about GitHub boards, project management, and all those things. Okay, now you have to do those things. Okay, or you have to start even if you're working on a single project, solo project. You are still a one-person team. But either way, when you start using functions, when you separate your project into different modules, then it becomes very easy to collaborate. Okay, it becomes very easy to assign a different tasks to different team members. Even if you're working alone, it becomes easy for you to assign the tasks to yourself when you are able to build them using modules and functions. And finally, and another advantage of functions is obviously, testing. I will be, showing you some simple tests. Not right now. We are still in the very basics stage of this. The JavaScript thing is a very big journey. Eventually, one of the topics will be testing. When you start doing testing and things like that, you can only do testing of your code if all of them are being written as separate functions. Otherwise, you won't be able to do testing anyway. So there it is, guys. These are the main reasons why you should be using functions. Okay, modularity, making it into different pieces. Maintenance means, making code changes, fixing bugs, improving the algorithms. Over time, things will always change. So you can, that's called maintenance. Okay, so that becomes easy. Redundancy, you don't want duplication. Another reason to use functions. Collaborating becomes easy. And finally, testing can only happen if you're using functions and stuff like that. So there you go. That's the main thing about functions. Obviously, functions is a big topic. I've shown you some example code as well. But let's quickly move on to the second topic of today's session so that I can give you a quick intro, explain to you the different main operators. Now, please understand there are way too many operators in programming. We're not going to cover all of them. I'm only covering basics here, but you can always go online and find out about more operators. And at the end of the session, I'll show you how you can ask questions to me even after the session. And hopefully, when you get questions, you'll come back to me. Okay. And of course, I also want to show you a little bit about how you can use AI to build projects. Very, very useful. So in fact, every session, I'm gonna make sure that I show you guys how to use AI because that will really help you speed up your learning. Because as I mentioned before in the other sessions, if you're not using AI, but your friends are already using AI, so they are already benefiting from it. So you might as well start using it and make the most of it. So coming to the second part of today's topic, which is operators and specifically math operators. So math operators, the four main operators that is already used in our demo project. You can see here, it is the plus operator, which will take care of addition. And we have the subtraction operator, which is the minus symbol. Multiplication. Now in multiplication, just a quick note, now plus is plus. Let me get my marker here. You'll notice here that the plus is a plus, minus is a minus, just like you do in school math, high school math. But multiplication, in India, for example, whenever we do multiplication, we use an X symbol. But try to understand that multiplication here is a star symbol. And then finally, division. Again, in India, we use this symbol. Some people use the dash and then circle symbol. But in programming, we use the slash symbol for division. So make note of these minor differences. Like obviously, some things are same in both like real world math, how you write it, and then in the coding math, plus and minus symbol is the same, but other things are not the same. Like multiplication, usually it's an X, but here it's a star symbol. Division, it's a slash. I mean, I remember in school I used to do slash for mathematics, but I remember the professor would be like, the teacher would be using like a another kind of symbol, something like she used to do like this. I don't know why, but I think that's how division symbol is in mathematics. But anyway, so there you go. These are the different symbols you use for operators. Now let's quickly look at some example code I put in the PowerPoint for you. First step is addition. So again, very, very simple. You'll see here, okay, you have two numbers. Now we call them operands. So you have operators. You may already know this word from the math class. I remember my teacher used to say operands when teaching, not programming, just in general. She would say operands for these things. So these two things are operands here, and the middle is the plus operator. Now again, look at this. This is something I don't know why, but confuses a lot of people. Whatever you do in programming, it usually works from right to left. Again, some students seem to get very confused with that. So here, it's very natural to me at least. So you do your work on the right side, and then you go ahead and collect the result on the left side, and then you have the equal symbol, which is actually the equals operator. So do the addition on the right side, and then get the result on the left side. And you see here, we talked about this in the previous session. Let, that is how you create new variables. If you don't want let, you can also use var. No problem. Either way, it doesn't matter really. So there you go. That's about var and let, right? That we discussed in the previous session. Okay, so this is the simple usage of the addition operator, right? And then let's move on here to the subtraction operator. Same thing like before. You do whatever mathematics you're doing. On the right side, you put your operands here and here, 9 and 5, they are operands, and then you go ahead and use the subtraction operator, and then you get your equals operator here. That's the assignment operator. So 9 minus 5, 4 comes and sits on the left side. And in fact, you see the same thing happening here in my code. So I have two variables. One variable is the first value, and the second variable is the second value. You apply the addition operator, and immediately you return the value whenever this function is called. So this might look a little bit merging of two concepts. So again, in programming, we always combine multiple ideas to get a single solution. So in this one, I am combining two things. I'm combining the function concept with the operators concept, and ultimately I'm able to build a simple calculator. And this happens in programming a lot. Like right now, when we are learning things, sure, you're looking at these things individually, but try to understand, even in a simple project like this calculator project, I have only, I still have to combine things to get the output I am looking for. So there's no escaping it. It makes things complex. I'm not going to deny. As the sessions keep going, you'll see that the code keeps becoming more and more complex. And I already showed you, right? I've already put the future session code on my GitHub. So if you go to this one, I'm going to put this link in the chat again. Make a copy of it, go and explore it, download it. So I've already put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects. Today is the first time I'm showing you a project, which is the calculator project, but I've already put another project 1, 2, 3, 4 for the upcoming sessions in my repository. So if you want to be better prepared, you can actually go and start running this code and understand this code today itself. Okay, so the code is already there, guys. And you'll see that things will get complex, and the more we go. And in fact, I also put a project here in Node.js, which is actually a database project, and I think that is going to really, really be very interesting. Because I'll be showing you how to build what is called as an API, backend API, where we'll be using Node.js, JavaScript, and then MongoDB database on the cloud, and build like a backend REST API server. Very exciting stuff, but as you can see, it's a lot of coding, a lot of complications, but it's coming later. But I just want you to know that all the code is already there on my account. So those of you who want to learn things early, you can start early. Anyway, coming back to this one, I don't want to get too distracted, although all these are part of the same training, so I don't think it's a distraction, just giving you a heads up of what is coming in the future. So there you go, that's the plus operator, that's the minus operator. Quickly going here, multiplication, as I told you. Where's the marker? Yeah, multiplication, you can see here it's the star symbol. Okay, so 4 into 2 is equal to 8. That 8 is going to come and get stored in the product variable. Again, division, 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 is going to come here and get stored at the quotient situation. So those are the main operators that I wanted to show you in this class. Now, next thing is the calculator project. Now, before I go into the project, let's quickly do a quick summary here, and then I still have another 10-15 minutes here, so that's good. That is good. I'm going at a good speed. So let me come back here. So as I told you, as I mentioned, folks, functions, they will help you break up your code into reusable components. Okay. The standard structure, you have the function word, keyword blue color, you have a function name, parameters, and then you return a value. That's basic structure. Some example functions, the key reasons why we use functions, modularity, maintenance, and all that. And then math operators, the main four one. There are so many other operators, but in this session, I only want to show you the ones which I'm using in the calculator project. So that is what we have seen. So now let me dig in, spend some 10-15 minutes showing you the calculator project code. The main parts, I can't sit and code the entire project in a few minutes, but I can explain to you how I built the project. So hopefully when you try to practice, you will try to do that. So let's come back here. Now, the first step is, let me show you how to open my project. Let me show you how to download the code, because sometimes students have told me they get the link, but they have no idea how to open the project on their computer. And I think that is a valid question. I'm giving you all these links, but if you don't know how to get the code and how to run it on your computer, then what's the point of giving all these links? So let's do that. I won't do this in every session, but today is the first time I'm giving you a project. So you should know how to download the code and run it on your machine. Okay, so that's it. It sounds simple. I can assume that you know how to do it, but many times students have told me I should not make that assumption. So let's do that. So let me close this folder. Okay, let me just get rid of this. Okay, as if and then let's say, okay, I got the link from the chat. Okay, so I'm going to go to my chat here as if I'm a student. Okay, so it's very important. Again, please watch this part of the video again and again, because every class, when I share you the link with the code, every time I give you a project, you should repeat this step. You should be able to know how to download the code, right? So let's do that. Okay, so first step, I've given you a link, right? So I'm going to go to the link. Okay, first step is I'm going to open the link. Okay, there it is. Okay, now here, this is very, very important. Now you see here, let me get my marker. This is where you should actually go. So go to the blue section. Okay, go to the blue section. I'm repeating that again, blue section. So I'm going to click on the blue section. Okay, now there are multiple ways you can get the code, but I'm going to show you the simple way. Now remember, in the earlier session I showed you GitHub. Those of you already practicing GitHub, please use this option. Those of you who already practiced GitHub, watched all my videos and all that, do that. But those of you who are still struggling or just coming now, you're new, click on the green button. At the bottom there is an option called download zip. I'm going to slow down here. Okay, I'm going to slow down again. So that link I sent you, whatever link I share with you, open it and go to the blue part. I'm slowing down on purpose. I'm not going to repeat this in every session. So go to the blue part and click on the green link. Now, those of you who have taken my advice and watched all my YouTube channel, how to use GitHub and all that, use the GitHub link here. Now, those of you who did not practice GitHub, go to the bottom and use the download option, because that will work for everybody. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to click on download zip, and you'll see here on the top, it will download. Now, please understand, when you download files, depending on your internet speed, It can happen immediately or it can take time. So be patient. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and open this folder here. 1 second. Uh, hold on. Yeah, 1 second. Okay, all right. So I have my downloads folder here. So I'm gonna come back. So I have my downloads folder. Right now it's empty. So let me do that step again. Green button. Download zip. Download done. Waiting for it. Okay, and then I go to the downloads folder. So I can't make this bigger, guys. I'm really sorry. I don't know if I can zoom. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I can make it. Okay, there you go. So you will get a file. You get a file called frontend for students.zip. So you want to right click on Windows. On Mac, you have to figure it out on your own. Extract and then extract. It'll take a long time. Again, please be very patient. It's a lot of files. Now go inside and again go inside. And here you have, look at this. The link I sent you, what was that? That link was called Bootstrap for Students. Okay, don't get lost here. Don't get confused. So you have to find a folder called Bootstrap. Go inside Bootstrap and here you have all the projects. And today I am working on the calculator project. So I'll go inside the calculator project. Now I'm going to repeat that step because I know some students will get confused. So once again, downloads, front end for students, front end for students again, Bootstrap for students, and finally calculator project. Okay, so this is another thing which I saw from students, a lot of feedback, a lot of emails and messages like they don't know how to open the project. I hope I've explained that, and I hope you'll be able to watch this video on recording or do it live right now, and you're able to open the file. Now, once you're here, just right click. Again, on Windows, on Mac, it'll be different. There's an option called open with code. So I'm just going to open with code, and there it is. It can't be simpler than this. I've shown you all the way from the link to downloading to unzipping and going to the folder, and you have the code. Now here you have all the code here. You'll see 4 files: index.html, readme.md, script.js, where all the JavaScript is written, and finally the style sheet, which has some CSS. Now, this training program is mainly about JavaScript, so I'm not going to spend too much time on HTML and CSS. Now, those things you'll have to kind of learn on your own. Okay, in the document I've shared with you today, where is that document? I just opened it. Hold on, let me open it again. Bup, 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 bup. Okay, so in the document I opened, all the way in the first page, I've given you some links on how you can go ahead. Now, if you go here, okay, there's a link here called Free Code Camp. If you click on this, hold on. Free Code Camp, 1 second, that's not there. Come back to here. Yeah, there you go. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So when you come here on my Wikipedia, on my GitHub, you see if you scroll down, there's a link here. Please remember this. You open this one, you'll get a link on how to do HTML and CSS. So try to spend some time on this. I've already mentioned this before. HTML and CSS is not part of a training program, but it is necessary for you to build projects. So I'll be touching upon it. Like today, when I show you the calculator, obviously I'll do some explanation, but I'm not going to go too much into it because my focus is primarily on JavaScript here. So that is something you will have. I'll put that link in the chat as well, just in case you're not able to find it on the video. So there you go. I put that link as well. Remember to copy the links on your as and when I send something, open it, bookmark it, copy it to your notes or something. Okay, so let's come back to our calculator. So we have the main files. You have the index.html, which is where you put all the buttons and everything. CSS, CSS, like just to show you, let me go ahead and open this here. Okay, now look at what happens. Now this is my style file. Now let's say I remove it. Look at that. Did you see that? The moment I removed the CSS connection, the entire calculator, the buttons are still there. It will still work. Look at this. I can say 4 minus 3 is equal to 1. I hope you see that. You saw that, right? I mean, it's still working. Like if I say 8 multiplied by 2 equals 16. See, it is still working. It's definitely working. Not a problem. If I go back to your my Chrome browser here, oh, there it is. If I go here, you'll see that it still works. Like I'll zoom in. Look at that. So I can say 7 minus 3 is equal to 4. Yeah, 7 minus 3 is 4. It works. It works. But look how weird it looks. Look how, almost like you can't use it. See, that's what CSS does. So if I come back to my code and I put that CSS back, let me just close this. Okay, so let me go ahead and put the CSS back. There you go. Okay, so now once I put the CSS, it looks like a real calculator. See, that is the power of CSS, styling. Okay, so that is where, it looks good. So that means HTML is about the main things, like these are the things that are coming from HTML. The numbers, the buttons, all that is coming from HTML. Now, the colors, the layout, how it looks, look and feel, style is coming from CSS. So I hope you're able to appreciate what that is coming from. Now, again, you have to write all the styles here. Again, this is not a CSS program, so you will have to learn the styling yourself. Okay, I've given you some link on Free Code Camp, very nice course. You'll have to learn CSS by using that one. But you can see here in the project, I have given you some CSS as well. You can try to play around with it and learn. Changing things, playing around is the best way to learn, really. Okay, so finally, you have your JavaScript file. Okay, so we have yeah, we have another 50, I have another 5 minutes. I think after that I'll take some questions, but still I think I have enough time. So let me go through the script file, which is the main JavaScript file where all the action is happening. Now, you'll see here that I've gone ahead and created some variables. So I'm using let to create all the variables. So the main thing for me is that I want to collect some input. I want to know what is the operator. I want to know what is the first value, and I want to do like a reset after the math operation is done. Second thing I want to do is, now you see here in the main code, I have all these buttons. Now, every button represents something specific in your project, isn't it? So if you look at the output here, every button, like this button, is a number. Yes, but hold on. Now this button is division. This button is multiplication. This button is minus. This button is plus. This button is equal. This button is a decimal. This button is clearing the screen. So although all the buttons are same, depending on what character, what symbol the button has, the behavior has to be, different. Now that is what is happening in the JavaScript. So what I'm doing here is I get all the buttons. You see here, I'm doing what is called as button dot for each. So again, I'm writing a new function, and what I'm doing is I am getting a list of all the buttons in the file. Okay, because I have so many buttons, so I can't select every button one by one. That will take too long and it's not good programming. So what I'm doing is I'm going ahead and using a for loop to pick up all the buttons. And then what I'm doing is, depending on what the button has, I give it a different functionality. So if it has clear symbol, then I clear the output. If it has the reset thing, then okay, go ahead and reset it. If it has numbers, then go ahead and do the number thing. If it has the operator equals, then perform the calculation. You see here, I'm doing the calculation. So if it is not an operator, then just check that value what we are trying to do. So depending on what the button has, accordingly a different thing is going to happen. Okay, so that is how this works. So your first step is, okay, let me just go back to my paint software here. So let me just clear this. So what I'm doing is, just to give you an idea, so I have all these buttons. Okay, now each button, it can be a number, it can be an operator, it can be clear symbol, it can be an equal symbol, it can be a decimal value. So whatever it is, I take a list of all these buttons, and depending on what it is trying to do, I do a different action, and for each action I use separate functions, and that is how the calculator is working. Now look at this here. For example, when the clear button is pressed, I call the clear function. Now, where is the clear function? You scroll down here, you'll see here I've written a function called clear calculator. Remember what I talked about. Functions is all about modularity. So every separate activity is put in a separate box, in a separate function. Same thing here. So when I press the equals button, look at this. When I press the equal button, that means I have to do the calculation. So you'll see here, I am calling the calculate function in line number 31. So if I go back to my calculator here, I say one, that's one, number one, and then plus two, and then I press equals, I get three. So where is that coming from? I come here, I pressed equals, I have the two numbers, I go ahead and I calculate the result. Now, where are those two numbers? I have those two numbers here, first value and second value. So whatever operator I select, that is happening. Where is the operator getting selected? Now, if I go back to the top, you see here that the operator is getting collected here. Okay, so that is where, whatever, whether we are supposed to do plus, we are supposed to do minus, that value is going to be stored here in line number 44 and line number 48. So we have the numbers. So when you enter, so let's say you press 1, that gets stored in the first value, and then you press plus, that gets stored in the operator, then you press 2, that gets stored in the second value, and finally when you press equals, the calculate result function is getting called, and the result is coming and sitting in the first value. So 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. 3 comes here, and that is shown as a result, and that is what is happening here. So let's just give it a try one more time. So here we go. I have 8. Then let me just clear it out. 8 minus 6 equals 2. Yeah, that's it, guys. Very, very straightforward. Yes, it looks a little complex, but again, that's what programming is. It is a little bit complex and stuff like that. But the main thing is, you should be able to understand what is happening line by line, and hopefully you remember, when you're looking at this code after the session, you have to look at index.html, you have to look at style.cs, you have to look at script.js, you have to do all these things. So normally what I do is, whenever I'm looking at a code, I'm trying to practice, I'm just going to reduce the zoom. Okay, I'm just going to reduce the zoom. What I do is, I know it looks small, but I want to show you something. On the top right corner, it's a little bit tiny symbol. I can't make it bigger. I'm really sorry. I can't make it bigger. There is a split screen button here. So click on that. Look at that. Now, it's a very important trick in Visual Studio Code. I'm sorry everything is small, but otherwise I can't show it properly. So on the top right corner, you'll always have a split button. So what I do is, when I'm working on a project, I open one file on the left side, and I open the second file on the right side, so I can see how they are interacting with each other. So for example, where is the clear happening? So if you look at this line number 12, I know it's a little bit small. I think now I can zoom in again. There you go. There you go. Okay, so on line number 12, I have something called clear. Now, where is that clear coming from in HTML? Now I come to the left side. I look at this 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, operator. There it is, clear. So line number 27, HTML, is linked with JavaScript, line number 12 here. So that is how the connection is being made from HTML to JavaScript. So this is how I want you to sit and study this code after the session. Okay. Now, before I start taking any questions, I want to show you guys one more thing. Now, as I mentioned, things will become very complex as we go. But the good thing is I've already given the code to you. So you know the code works. You can just have to sit and experiment and see where it is happening. Now, how do you ask questions? Now, of course, you'll ask questions in the session, but we only have 5 minutes. You can ask maybe one or two questions at best. But the real way to ask questions is you go here to my link I gave you, the blue color front end for students. At the top, there is a button. Let me just zoom in. Okay, I hope that is big enough. So remember this, guys. This is what really helps you. Okay, there is a tab here called discussions. Okay, now you'll see a lot of other students, like other students I have, they already ask questions and stuff like that. Now, this is what you want to use. Whenever you have a doubt, come here and ask questions, whatever doubt you have. And there are a lot of options here. Like, for example, I've written an article here by another student, how to ask questions. See, look at this. Hello, Jay, sir. I was trying to practice. There, this is the link. See, look at that. I reply. Usually within 24 hours, I will reply. I'll give screenshots. I look at this, look at this. I'll put example code. I keep replying. I keep replying. As long as the student is replying, I keep replying. I keep replying. I keep replying till the student says solution is solved or the student stops replying. But I keep replying. I keep replying as long as the student is asking questions. So this is how you should be. Now, as the sessions go bigger, they go more complex. The code is going to get bigger. And I told you, right? I mean, one of the sessions in the future, I'll be showing you how to build a web API. We'll be working with database and all that. So you'll have a lot of questions when you practice. Where do you go? So this is where you come. This is where you come to discussions. I'll put this link also in the chat. This is where you want to come and ask questions, because that is something I'm available all the time. And usually I'll reply within 24 hours. And if some student is very active, then I'll sit and keep checking and I'll start replying within 1 hour, 2 hour, as long as it is daytime in India. So a lot of options for you to dig deeper into programming. Well, anyway, so that is what I want to discuss with you guys. 1 second, guys, 1 second. Sorry, guys. Sorry, my water bottle was over, so my mom was just giving me. Okay, so there you go, guys. That's what I wanted to show you. Hold on, I'm just gonna drink some water. I was just waiting for her to give it to me. So that is what I want. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. Discussions. Where you can. I've given you all the code. You have my YouTube channel and everything. So go ahead, check it out, and then if you have any questions, you know where to go to ask questions. So that's what I want to do today. I know it's a heavy session, and all the sessions will be heavy like this. I try my best to give you examples and everything, but if you are still feeling sorry about the symbols, that's from my iPad. I'm not adding that. That's coming from the iPad. So it's a heavy topic, guys. We are doing something very complex, heavy, and we only have 45 minutes to discuss here. So that's what I want to show you. So there you go, guys. I'm ready to wrap up here. We have another 5-10 minutes. If you have any questions, go ahead, type it in the chat box. If somebody has any questions, I think Antonella is online. She will unmute you and I can hear your questions. We have time for 2-3 questions, guys. We have another 5-10 minutes.
We have a question from Rose Mensa. Let's see what she has to say.
Okay.
Hello, madam. Hello,
hi, Rose. What is your question? Hi.
Good afternoon. Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon. I want to find out. Of course, this is a very complex this thing, teaching. Since the time that I started, I've never understood it, and I've now developed an interest, and I want to find out. In case I want to start learning, how do I start? I want you to show me how I should start.
Yes, Rose. So my request to you is, that link I shared with you, the front end for students. I hope you bookmarked that link. Now, if you go here, and I hope you're watching on the screen right now, If you scroll down
Yes.
a little bit, you'll see that I have put some, not some, a lot of student entry level projects for you to explore. That is where you should start. Step number one. Second step, I have my own YouTube channel where I have put dozens of videos for beginner learners. That is your second step. And finally, third step, Rose, is there are these two online courses you can see here. It's called Free Code Camp. Like the title says, these two courses are completely free. I have been using them. I use them in my workshops. I use it with my, I do private tutoring to a lot of clients in US and UK. I use the same thing in my tutoring classes. So three things for you, Rose. First thing, I have my own projects. Second thing, I also have made some YouTube videos on my YouTube channel specifically for first time learners, which means I explain very slowly. I show you in small steps. And finally, you have these free courses. This is where you start. Three things for you, Rose. All of them are in this link. I'm going to put this link again in the chat. So everything you need is already there online. Of course, you must understand becoming a programmer is a journey. It is a never-ending journey. Like even now, I mean, I've been coding for 25 years now. I'm 40 now. I started coding when I'm 15. Even now, when I'm working on a project with my client, I have to learn new things. I have to take courses. I have to read books. Every week, every month, the industry is changing. New technologies are coming. So that's the life. But yeah, the starting thing, this may take you 6 months. It may take you 1 year. I don't know, but this is where you start, folks.
Yes. So
Okay. So any other questions, guys?
Yes, do anyone else have a question?
There was one question
Well,
in the chat about the code. I've sent the link. I've shown the link also. I even went ahead and showed you how to download the code as well. Let me check my other chat box. Any questions there? No questions so far. But of course, this is a complex topic, guys. Like I told you, your real questions will start coming when you start practicing. And when that happens, go to the discussion section, just like other students, go ahead and ask your questions in the discussion forum and go ahead and get them answered. You can see that every time a question comes within 24 hours, I reply. If it's a weekend, then I may not reply within 24 hours, but within 24 hours business day, I will reply if anybody puts any question. Until now, if there are no more questions, then I've given them all the information. I've shared all the links. So everything from my end is done.